You look like you just need a real kicker.
The one thing all fools have in common is that they're always putting off living. Seneca. Okay, we've both tried a social media detox. It was great while it lasted. And now you're back to putting off living again. You're trying to navigate this weird realm where you live your normal life, but social media is also a part of it, but sort of only like just a bit. It's just like focusing too much on eating healthily and perfectly when you're trying to lose weight. It only makes the lack of your comfort foods more apparent and the discomfort of eating healthily more searing. Don't think of a white bear. Counterintuitively, you have to play games with your mind or let someone else do so that person trying to lose weight slowly loves themselves more. And so they end up treating their bodies with the respect that their bodies deserve. So now they eat like their body is telling them to and not how their mind is urging them to. And replacing the destructive thoughts about your own body takes upon a similar process to replacing your social media addiction. Part of this is because of this thing called the law of reversed effort, which was first coined by this dude called Aldous Huxley. And he said, proficiency and the results of proficiency come only to those who have learned the paradoxical art of doing and not doing, or combining relaxation with activity, of letting go as a person in order that the imminent and transcendent unknown quantity may take hold. Basically, try too hard and it's going to get worse. And we often think that we're the thinking brain that's in the driver's seat. We're the ones to blame because our screen time slipped up to 4 hours today, or we ate that extra chocolate mousse when we told ourselves that we weren't going to do that. So logically, you must be fundamentally failing to drive your own car. There's definitely something wrong. But no, absolutely not. To quote this dude called Mark Manson, our conscious mind is a passenger to our own behavior who has deluded himself into thinking he's in the driver's seat. Your thinking conscious mind is the one that gets to draw the map. We often don't have control over our actions and emotions, but we do have control over our meaning and interpretation of them. To develop a real sense of control in your life, it's not about beating your emotions into submission, which I would know only causes greater neuroticism and compulsion. You have to coerce the two brains to talk to each other. You have to ask the feeling brain, okay, so how does working out at 7 p.m. to some banging tunes and not trying to work out at 6 a.m. like you've been trying to do feel? How does that feel? Is that better? You negotiate and you come to a conclusion that you kind of both agree with. You have to negotiate it. But that negotiation process becomes immeasurably easier when you increase the upside of the alternative to what you're trying to avoid. The problem is not that you don't have the self-discipline needed to stay off your phone. You're not facing a discipline problem. You simply haven't wholeheartedly committed to doing a single something that takes over your mind like a fever. That's the alternative. The one thing you are doing, scrolling, learning, listening, and absorbing information, is preventing you from having the time to do or the space to come up with the ideas for that single something, that single North Star that obsesses your mind. And if you're a highly goal-driven person, you do want to be weirdly obsessed with something. Be weird. Accepting that makes doing abnormal things much easier. And we're all lazy and we like things easy, so be obsessed. But before we tackle how to find that thing that's going to indirectly solve this social media problem, we need to learn just a little bit more. We need to scroll a bit more. And I think if I just get a little bit more inspiration and if I expose myself to these better ideas over here, and damn, I should be pursuing that shiny object instead, I think. Okay, so maybe we do need to deal with our habits as well. So it's our habits on our North Star. Habits occupy 50% of our actions within a day, and habits are a notoriously difficult subject. I'm no expert, but I found the solution in my life by a long shot is to just switch up your environment. Your phone simply does not have any social media on it, and never will. Your phone doesn't have social media. Take it off. Move neighborhoods or something. Surround yourself with different people, even if they're just people on the internet. And don't have your weakness lying in the pantry ready to be munched. The only problem with that is that it's basically just ripping the Band-Aid off and can be quite painful. So I'd suggest changing small things up here and there. For example, like wearing a watch on the wrong hand or brushing your teeth with the other hand, which you'll find is really strange. It's a weird experience. So what you're doing by doing those sort of things, you're letting your brain be accustomed to rewiring. Okay, so we've kind of got that under control. We more or less know what to do to change our habits. But how do you embrace that North Star? You must seek to create a world alive with better problems. This is because ultimately our brains choose to only look at the positives, the highlights of the goals that we desire. But actually, we need to choose all the hardships and pains that we want first. And that sounds stupidly obvious, but if you've ever clicked on a video titled The Truth Behind My $10 Million Business, or How I Make $37,956 per month selling custom GPTs on the App Store or whatever, then, well, you might need to reassess. But also, it confirms you're human, which is a good thing, I think. So what nitty-gritty stuff do I want to spend my time on this earth doing that most people probably won't? I mean, most people don't like sitting down for hours and writing scripts like this one. And most people don't enjoy coding for 4 hours straight or going to the gym. And I like doing those things. And so that combination of I love, but most people probably don't, is a very good indicator of what you should be spending your time on. If you haven't got any of those things, then, I consider work that aligns with some of your strengths that most people don't like, and give it a real shot. Like, really try hard at learning something for at least 20 hours. And then make a decision. Are you going to keep on doing this thing or not, really? And 20 hours is not a random number. I've taken that from a TED Talk by Josh Kaufman, with part of his message being something along the lines of, with focused practice, anyone can become reasonably proficient in a new skill by dedicating roughly 20 hours of deliberate practice time to it. And new skills always become more enjoyable the better you are at them. But how do you allow yourself the calmness, the space, and the time, and the mental clarity to just work on one something? Because now is never the right time. It never is. There's always so many other stressful things going on, so many distractions. In a lot of cases, this comes down to an underlying confidence in your own abilities. You don't have to agree with me, but your lack of dedication to a goal is not a time management issue. That's a skill you can work on later. It's because you aren't utterly convinced that you're going to succeed. This is where you really need to accept that you're not trying to be a smart person. What you're doing requires you to ignore the statistics. It's a necessity. Be more stupid. Be utterly delusional about your unreasonable goal. And your goal must be unreasonable. If your goal isn't unreasonable, you're not going to be excited enough about it. And I promise you that. And that stupidity is also going to help you to not blink twice if you really do need to change lanes. There's a chance you're going to need to stop. Appreciate this person that the work has made you become, and promptly try something else. There's a chance you're going to need to do that. And that's why I'd say committing to a daily practice, daily is very important, that is guaranteed to give results, is a complete necessity for literally anyone. For instance, going to the gym or practicing stand-up comedy every day, or chess, or running, or hand balance. It's something where it's you judged against you yesterday or the month before, and you can work on it a little bit every single day. That solidifies a trust in yourself, a confidence that taking that next step forward that no one else told you to take will bring you to where you want to be. James Clear famously said, he's that Atomic Habits guy, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And I think this is a bit misleading. You need to accept that the internet and the world and your life and your this and your that are in complete chaos, probably. And so there is a massive appeal to having a perfectly structured life. Systems in place here and there that stop you from failing, which is discontinuing the pursuit of your goals. Don't get me wrong. Systems and processes are great. In fact, essential in team environments. Systems are also great when it means changing up your environment, like I mentioned earlier. But when it's just you versus you, you'll probably notice things like that structured to-do list just never quite gets empty, and you never quite end up waking up on time for your calendarized routine. You never really make it to your calendarized gym slot. So now, you can only do half the workout because you'd already failed. If you're having trouble with problems like that, and you don't need to coordinate with other people, which makes those sort of time-based goals and tasks a lot easier to do anyway, then I would say just drop most of those systems and scribble whatever you need to do for the day on a piece of paper or in a notebook. That's all you actually really need. Just a little bit of a second brain to jot down what are you going to do and when. And you can do things like write it the night before or in the morning, but I don't like to have a system for that because it's never ended up being consistent. You just need a place to put some things that you're going to do today and do the things. That's all that counts. It sounds so nice to have systems in place that prevent you from falling. But our whole society adores anything that sounds nice. So as long as you can always answer the question, what are all the things I need to get done before I go to bed? You don't need more systems. You probably need less. If I only did exercise, if I had to be at a physical gym and only be there at a certain time, then I would barely have made any progress because I just can't keep that up. And you need to be a bit hard on yourself. Let me say that again. You need to be a bit hard on yourself. You need to have an expectation of what you're going to do today in your head and be a little bit ashamed if you don't, so that you accept it in a healthy way and try better the next day. That's all this is. So stop looking for shiny objects everywhere. Embrace the uncomfortable things that you like that others don't, and develop a confidence in yourself through repeatedly doing what you say you're going to do. And then use that confidence in your pursuit of your unreasonable goal that others think is really quite stupid. If you do those things, it will be unreasonable for you to not have an exceptional time on this earth. And it would be even more unreasonable for you to not subscribe if you enjoyed this video that I'm making, and stay on the lookout for the next one. Happy building, folks. Get off social media.